Hello, myself Sunil Ramdhana. Here basically we are talking about the one topic that is seawater. Basically. And in seawater, basically one of the person told that seawater is also created from set of waters, set of words basically. Then he told that yes. Basically. So in this basically one of the person told that how many words basically are added in the seawater. Then one of the person told that cities are equal to word, and assume that basically human basically has created 3,75,000 cities. So 3,75,000 cities equal to, assume that basically 35,000 crore, 35 crore words. So that 35 crore words basically data basically is added in the seawater, and this keeps on basically adding basically. The data keeps on adding. The reason basically it has to be active basically. That's why basically. So the missiles basically are dumped here, the lots of nuclear power companies basically are there who basically keeps on updating the data like this basically they are keeps on doing basically. So one of the person told that that's why basically the lots of city basically are kept into the experiment side basically. So Italy is basically one of the city basically where basically the experiments are basically ongoing basically. That is the one city basically that is always basically having the sea water. Basically it might be possible that the day basically which I am telling, it might be 1 week also basically. Within 1 week basically this type of incidents happens, or basically it might possible that within 1 month basically, but happens basically. That is 100% sure, because without experiment you can't basically handle the cities, because you are not basically the universe group basically that you will say that basically the universe group also basically keeps on doing experiment. Why? Because more than 100 crore planets basically are just created, more than 100 crore basically. So universe group also basically can't say 100% basically, sorry 98% basically, that it's going to happen, it will happen. They will also possibilities only basically they are going to say. So it's very difficult to handle the city basically. That is 100% basically. If it's handled to handle just one normal city basically it's difficult. So how the universe basically might be handling, how basically the somebody might be handling the entire universe basically. You just see basically it's basically not easy basically. One of the person told that basically. So this is very dangerous thing basically. That is one combination is water see this basically. Second combination like this little bit remove the data. Then basically like this basically 3 1 2 3 combination like this 5 crore combination. Here basically I just taken as a minimum 5 crore. In really basically it might be 35 crore or 45 crore. 45 crore basically days also basically the earth planet basically has not reached, you know, basically. So just taking as an example basically. So it might be 5 crore also basically. So like this Oxford group basically are doing the experiment of the combination basically. Doing the combination basically. So like this one city of Italy basically. Why basically the Italy city has taken? Because it's near the city sea na basically. Entire Italy basically is surrounded with the sea water. That's why basically some group basically might have used this city basically as a experiment purpose basically. And this is very dangerous basically. The people who might be staying there basically they might be mostly basically might be human clones basically. Mostly because human basically can't able to survive basically. Reason, the human basically control basically are done by the satellite also basically. But here the human clone controls by the computers basically. That's why basically the human clones basically are used in this city basically. So like this basically there might be many city basically in the world basically. So one of the city is Italy basically. One of the city basically is in Italy basically. That also you can say. Italy is not city basically. Italy is not city basically. So like this basically you can just imagine basically the things basically which is already created. So how tough basically it's to handle only basically. Not only tough but how difficult it is to handle basically. So one of the person told that the set of combination the Oxford University basically have, they basically might be like this combination. The Oxford University basically also might be having some set of combination. That is basically I will just University Oxford, University Oxford created words, combination of words. So this data basically they might be having. No, basically they might not be having. I am 100% sure basically. This group basically might not be having because they might have never got the time only basically. They might be busy in the creation of planets only basically. So they will mostly basically might not have got the time. So this basically they don't have basically. And to create this basically, how difficult it would be, because one word equal to one city. One word is equal to city. So to do this combination basically they might not be having the data basically, but they might be doing the experiment basically. That is 100%. Same way basically these groups basically are doing the experiment. These groups are doing the experiment. Same way basically they might be also doing the experiment basically. That group might be doing the experiment basically. So one of the person told that basically who might be the sponsor of this basically. Then he told that that basically he need to check basically. The group basically who might be staying near the sea water, they only basically might be having the have to do the spending basically, that is the investment basically. So this in this basically the World Bank basically might introduce some products basically which will basically create the investment basically, and which will collect the money for this experiment basically. And basically it required lots of money basically, lots of money. So it's a huge investment basically. So that basically has to be happen. So like this basically this is also basically one of the dangerous thing basically which Earth planet is doing. So this is just of water basically, right? Like this basically how many objects basically are there in world basically. Then he told that basically mountains are there. So mountains basically which type of experiment basically in mountain basically they went. So one of the person told that basically why mountain basically doesn't become sand basically. Why basically mountain doesn't become sand basically, and why mountain does not become powder basically. Then he told that there might be some energy basically, right? There might be some energy basically which is keeping mountain as mountain basically. Mountain as mountain basically. Then he told that yes, yeah basically. So that energy basically required lots of investment basically. Because in mountain basically lots of big people basically are staying. Lots of big people basically are staying, and they basically keeps on doing the experiment basically. They are doing keeps on doing the experiment basically. They are keeps on doing the experiments. They are basically keeps on doing the experiments. So assume that basically in this world basically there are around more than 1 lakh mountains basically. So to keep that mountain basically, that basically required lots of experiment basically. So what might be that experiment that basically the groups who created the mountain, that groups only might be doing. So it might possible that that required lots of energy. There also basically lots of experiment like missile basically is dumping into the sea water. That type of thing basically might be doing. That all basically might be doing in the mountain. There also basically lots of data basically might be dumping. Like same way the natural items like trees are there, sands basically are there. How basically the tree remains as a tree basically. Why the tree doesn't fall basically down. There might be something na, basically. How the buildings basically stays as a building basically. Why basically that basically we have already discussed, that is a stable data basically. Same way the power supply basically are also basically playing the very dangerous role in the environment basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this.